Just look around us. The dust of the jagged spire, well, it hasn't even finished settling yet. It's just hanging here, suspended in the cold air, caught in a billion agonizing, beautiful moments of its own collapse. The ancient stone is literally glowing in the shimmering twilight of this ruined landscape. It's a monument to a world that honestly thought it could freeze time itself. I am Salvio Pallido, sovereign of the Shattered Spire, and welcome to this explainer. What we're examining today isn't the tragic end of a civilization at all. No, it's a profound beginning. We're going to explore a blueprint for the living ink, the architecture of a completely new reality that is actively writing itself right out of the ashes of the old.
You know, there is a very simple, fundamental truth at the heart of all this immense destruction. A clean page demands a spill. Right now, the high sorcerers of our realm are cowering in the shadows. They are trapped in a state of absolute paralyzed panic. They're weeping for what they called static control. They mourn their permanent gilded cage. But let me tell you, their terror is completely misplaced. It's born of a profound misunderstanding of the universe. Static control was merely an anomaly. It was just a temporary, arrogant illusion of order forced upon a very dynamic world. The catastrophic destruction of their spire wasn't a tragedy. It was a desperately needed, unavoidable correction. To truly grasp the magnitude of my design for the future, we first need to clinically analyze the precise, shattering mechanics of their downfall.
So let's jump right into Section 1, the fall of static control. This is the exact moment the old logic fractures entirely.
Try to consider the clinical reality of this event from the sorcerer's thoroughly horrified perspective. Without any warning, the architect of Inkblot dropped a massive timeline anomaly directly onto the absolute apex of our world. The ancient stone of the spire wasn't just destroyed by physical force. Its very existential nature was fundamentally broken. It was forced to exist in conflicting, utterly impossible states of time. Can you even imagine the agony of the architecture? The stone is simultaneously being built from the earth, standing perfectly still in pristine glory, and decaying into absolute forgotten dust. This is the raw, terrifying power of the living ink. It doesn't just break down physical walls, it entirely shatters the conceptual foundation of when and how.
And this single anomaly at the apex triggered a total, unstoppable cascade of failures throughout the entire realm. History is no longer a recorded fact, you see. It is actively, aggressively rewriting itself around us with every passing second. The strict, unyielding laws of the High Sorcerers, those sacred royal decrees they thought would govern for millennia, are quite literally dissolving. The text just runs down the parchment as unreadable, meaningless ink. The entire architecture of stasis, the very thing upon which they built their arrogant authority, has completely and spectacularly crumbled. The sorcerers can do absolutely nothing. They are entirely paralyzed by the sheer, crushing weight of the paradox, forced to watch helplessly as their rigid universe finally rediscovers how to laugh.
Which brings us to Section 2, Mischief Undermining Ancient Logic. Let's take a closer look at these agents of laughter.
We have to turn our focus to the three spirit siblings. They're roaming free right now, acting as the untamed co-authors of this beautifully ruined landscape. Methodically speaking, their actions are far more than mere pranks. They are deliberate acts of pure philosophical subversion designed to completely dismantle the old world's psychology. Take the small, for instance, functioning as a surreal unbinding agent. By turning the grim, unyielding cobblestones of our marketplaces into soft sponges, it transforms military staging grounds into surreal playhouses. This isn't just a trick. It robs the city of its harsh, unforgiving physical foundation. Then we have the Hunger, who actively eats the rigid expectations of obedience. Think deeply about this specific mischief for a moment, turning guard swords into fragile peacock feathers. This systematically unbinds the traditional foundation of military threat. A dictatorship simply cannot exist without the sharp edge of a blade, right? By rendering authoritarian violence physically impossible, the entire social contract of fear just evaporates in an instant. Finally, the wit unleashes a jagged, contagious laughter that cleanly slices through whatever pathetic logic the city governors still cling to. They are dismantling tyranny with unpredictable whim.
But you know, chaos is merely raw material waiting for a masterful hand. Here is Section 3, the Apollonian Gasket, a calculated grand design.
I certainly do not look upon this sprawling, beautifully ruined landscape with the same terror as those fallen sorcerers. Stepping forward from the twilight, draped in the purple and gold robes of a new dawn, I present the true instrument of our salvation, the Apollonian Gasket.
It is a breathtakingly complex, recursive geometric structure, meticulously etched with ancient, glowing ink runes. When I hold it, I don't feel the clumsy weight of brute force or the rigid oppression of static control. I feel a calculated, definitive answer to the architect's living ink. It's designed, mathematically and magically, to navigate the paradoxes, to find a beautiful, sustainable order within the absolute swirling depths of chaos.
Let's actually compare the two dramatically different approaches currently shaping the fabric of our new reality. On one side, the spirit siblings rely on the most ancient, messy mischief. It's driven by unpredictable whim, surreal unbinding, and chaotic paradoxes. Now, their work is a necessary clearing of the board, absolutely. A glorious dismantling of the gilded cage. But my approach is one of calculated design. It relies on recursive geometry, finding patterns within the madness, and establishing strategic order. Where they create a wild, uncontainable stain across the pages of reality, I don't try to erase it. I build a permanent, mathematically unshakable structure right on top of it. I am replacing the fatally flawed static control of the past with a dynamic, geometric mastery that can bend without ever breaking.
Which leads us to our final strategic imperative, Section 4, Drafting the New Law, Charting the Next Phase.
This is my ultimate strategic shift, a personal manifesto for the new empire, if you will. We will not stubbornly fight the living ink like those foolish sorcerers did. We are going to conquer its mocking paradoxes by mapping a deliberate pattern within the stain itself. I'm currently coordinating with the desperate, broken remnants of the High Sorcerers, not to rebuild their failed systems, mind you, but to execute my vision. If the architect of Inkblot operates in high time to violently disrupt history, then I, the sovereign, will use the runes of the gasket to trace a path directly through that disruption. We will weave our blueprint right through the chaotic living ink, turning the very weapon that destroyed the old world into the unshakable foundation of the new one.
So, I leave you with this one final, absolutely vital thought to ponder as the dust continues to fall. Can a new law be drafted that the living ink itself will not eventually turn against? The air around us remains incredibly heavy with the architect's mocking paradoxes, waiting to see if we will fail. But with the Apollonian gasket firmly in hand, and the recursive geometry of this new reality finally taking shape, the answer lies in the bold mathematical patterns we are about to draw. The old world of static control is nothing but dust now. Welcome to the new design, and thank you for joining me for this explainer.